Okay.
All right. Hey, Andre, good to see you. And thankful that it's another Friday. We made it through another week. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to be with you, Josh.
Let's talk being a dad. And I want to think, especially today, about how, as dads, we handle mistakes and even sins that we make or not make, that we commit in our families, and how we respond to correction. Can you think of, as you think about yourself as a father, can you think of a time when you made a big mistake or sin in a way that
Yeah.
discouraging?
Yes, very much so. When I think of getting angry or annoyed, even with my kids, when they're just trying to be nice. So, I mean, I feel pressured or do stuff and I can lash out at them, or just speak in a way that's not kind. When they're just trying to be nice kids and love on me, and so I've done that for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely think, when I just think in general, if you ask me right off the top of my head, I think of times when I've failed to lead as well as I should, and been intentional about certain discussions I needed to have. And it's hard because obviously the reason why we're talking is because we want to be the best dads we can be. But the problem is we are sinners and we're living with other sinners in a sinful world. And so we sin and our kids sin. And there are going to be times where those sins become even patterns and or hurt our kids in such a big way. And we need to be corrected. And so I want us to think about how we respond to correction. How do we deal with the fact that we sin? Because there are obviously some really wrong ways that dads tend to respond. And this might be a two-parter: how not to respond, how to respond. But there's you know, Dude Perfect. Maybe not everybody knows it, but you can Google Dude Perfect. They funny YouTubers, and they do stereotypes. So they'll have that stereotypical beach guy or stereotypical whatever. And I was thinking there are some stereotypes in terms of wrong ways of responding to correction. I can think of a couple, maybe you can think of a couple, but one would definitely be the pretender. I was thinking about the proverb that says, fools mock at the guilt offering. And in other words, fools think it's silly. They pretend like they're not sinners. They don't need to make an offering for guilt. And there are dads who, it's almost as if they are pretending in their family that everybody else is a sinner, but not them.
Yeah, that is, and maybe a little bit of that goes in with that is this mentality of I'm kind of the king of the castle,
Yeah.
king of the castle. So everyone else, is the problem, but I'm fine,
Yeah.
And so it's a wrong view of ourselves.
Yes. What I see happen with guys like that is that for a while, often their kids are afraid of them, and yet you can't fool them for very long. They're going to become teenagers and then adults. And if you keep pretending that you're not a sinner, your kids know you're a sinner. So
Yes.
if you're not able to talk about it, they're going to get up older and just be disillusioned by you, to be honest.
Yes.
Another is the avoider. And this is the guy who stays away from anybody who ever might correct him. Proverb says, a scoffer does not like to be reproved. He will not go to the wise.
Yeah, I mean, we don't like correction in
Yeah.
general. People don't really like it. So you can even think in the family where the dad has got all the responsibilities he has. He has to be the one that has to lead and all that stuff. And so when the rebuke comes or the correction comes or the instruction comes, pride causes us not to like it. And so we'd
Yeah.
rather avoid it.
Yeah.
And even avoid people in our life that would show that out in our lives.
This is the guy who wants his family to only be his fan club. And
Yes.
he gets friends around him that only will have, his name on their back. And if anybody ever sort of points out a weakness, that person is just, ridiculed or attacked in the home, and they avoid them, and it just becomes a pattern. We don't correct dad.
Yeah, the other guy that's pretty striking is the attacker. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
guy who gets upset at all people when when they say you're sinning, And again, the proverb might say, whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury.
Yes. So some guys do that obviously physically, and that's terrible. But other guys I've noticed are, you might call them the joker. So they attack by joking. And I've met guys that you rebuke them for their sin, and they act like they take it okay at first, but for the next 10 years, it seems, anytime you get close to that area, they're making fun. They're offering some sarcastic comment about it. Um, I remember one guy, he would, he kind of would make racist comments, and I rebuked him about that. And every time in conversations from then on, he would say, "Oh, I would say something, but you know, Josh is here, so I can't talk like that."
Yeah, and it's hilarious because in trying to be funny, he's actually just again bringing up the same issue. He's just showing every time that he's not able to take rebuke, you know,
Exactly.
through his humor. So that's hilarious.
Brother, I need to rebuke you again. There's the waiter. This is the guy not waiting tables, but this is the guy who just ignores a situation and just kind of hopes if I wait long enough, it might get better.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I think have a false idea that is kind of what peacemaking looks like. Is if I avoid the problem, it's gonna let the issue go away, and there's gonna be peace again. But it never deals with it, and it never deals with that habit. And so there's no culture of talking about that stuff.
Yeah. I wonder, when am I going to learn that? I tend to be the guy who thinks, you know, it's gonna work itself out. But so often, if you don't deal with an issue, you don't talk about an issue, it really doesn't actually get better.
Yes. Yeah, and then you get the blamer, you know. This is this is like Garden of Eden stuff. This is
Yeah.
where, you know, you see Adam and Eve and the way they responded to when sin was first pointed out. And, you know, you blame shift. You know, it's your problem, not mine. So I don't want to own up to what I've done wrong.
Yes. I don't know why it is so hard to take a correction or have somebody point out that you're a sinner, because it's so obvious, and yet it really is hard for many of us and so instinctive to find problems in other people so quickly after they point out sin in us.
Yeah, yeah, man, we just really, if we don't recognize we are sinners, then we have such a distorted view of ourselves, and then being a dad is going to be hard,
Yeah.
and miss out on so many opportunities. Sure.
Yeah. And then there's just the talker. The proverb says, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. And so there are some guys, you correct them, and man, even if you correct them about something small, it is like a 7-hour conversation, because you are in it to win it. I mean, you're in an argument and you're not even you're not there to argue. It's just a long, because they want to overpower you in a sense with their talking.
Yeah, and it goes in with a lot of these other ones. You know, the guy who likes to blame shift or things like that. It's because you're showing them something, and then Proverbs would say you're a fool. You know,
Yeah.
it's like instead of taking that correction and working with it and applying it and thinking how you can grow, you just want to minimize that and put the attention back on something else. You know.
Yeah. I guess there's also the distorter, and this is the guy, you correct them about something, and they change they change it into something else. And that goes along with the overreactor, where you might say to somebody something small, and all of a sudden they're acting like you told them they're Adolf Hitler or something like that.
Yes, and and then man, that can take the whole conversation in a different direction. And
Yeah.
then a lot of times it just brings up other issues, and then all of a sudden, instead of dealing with the main core problem, you recognize there's 10 other issues now you got to deal with as well.
Yeah.
And then the criticism actually just keeps on coming, and
Yeah.
then you don't know how to handle it, and it just blows
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It doesn't go well.
And then there's the self-pitier. This is the guy that you correct, and they just talking forever about how bad they are, and
Mm.
kind of a state of depression almost.
I'm the worst father in the world. I can never do it well. I'm never going to be able to be this kind of dad you want me to be. And oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad.
And all of us kind of
I've
have
been
our
there
own, yeah,
too.
all
Yeah,
of
I've
us
been there
kind of
too.
have our things. And I probably can be tempted to do a little bit of this if someone corrects me. Oh, well, I'm such a loser.
Yeah.
Um, Instead of
The
actually
next one,
about
I
it.
mean, the next one being a defender. I mean, I can see how that's that one hits home the most for me. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
see how a prideful response when someone points out something in my life that I jump on my horse and I defend myself. And it's funny because, in general, I wouldn't say I've got that legal instinct in me, but somehow all of us can become experts in legal defending ourselves when it comes to sin in our own lives.
Oh,
It's
my
like,
word.
wow, become a lawyer because how well I can try to argue myself out of this one and defend myself. It's pretty ridiculous and
Yeah,
remarkable at the same time.
actually. And I guess we've had so much practice because we've been doing this since we were babies. Even with little kids, you can see how quick they are to defend themselves. And all of those are very wrong ways to respond to sin when we're corrected for it. And some of these are such habits for us. We develop these patterns that we might even think, is there another way? And of course, there is another way. And I think it begins with seeing that when sin is exposed, it's actually an opportunity. It's actually an
Yeah.
opportunity. How is it an
It's a
opportunity?
Yes, it's a bigger opportunity because then we're able to respond and model for our kids a way that we can actually talk about this stuff in a way that's going to move the family forward and the relationship forward, and that we don't have to ignore the elephant in the room. We can deal with the elephant in the room, and
Yeah,
that it actually is going to help everyone know how to deal with this stuff moving forward.
yeah,
Otherwise, the kids keep processing. Well, if that's how dad responds and acts, then that's kind of what I should do, even
yeah.
though my he keeps telling me I shouldn't.
We learn so much through imitation, and you are teaching your kids how to deal with sin and how to deal with correction by your response. So our kids are going to sin, and they need to learn what to do when they sin. And one of the best ways they can learn how to respond to correction and to their own sin is by watching you. It's kind of an opportunity for them to see how the gospel actually works, because it's so easy to say you believe you're a forgiven sinner, but do you actually believe it?
Yes. I mean, and so the goal is not there for your kids just to think you're this champion and you're the most amazing dad. You want to show them, yeah, I'm a broken sinner too. I need the gospel. I'm
Yeah,
going to make mistakes and I need Jesus just as much as you do.
yeah. I was someone was, I guess, encouraging us the other day about my fathering and in front of my kids, and then I just said to my kids afterwards, I said, guys, you know what? When you get older, you're going to look back and you're going to realize your dad was a big sinner. And, my only hope is not how well I fathered you, because I mean, the reality is there's just so many failures. My only hope is the gospel and that Jesus Christ is my substitute. And I want you to remember that when you get older, because it's just going to become obvious that I failed you. I'm trying not to. I want to do my best, but it's going to become obvious that I'm not a perfect father. And my only hope is Jesus Christ, and that's your only hope as well.
Yeah, that is, I mean, that is just gospel in action every day.
Yeah,
Gospel in action every day. And so we need to go there. We need to go to recognize we can't do this by ourselves as dads, and
yeah,
our kids need to recognize they can't be obedient children by themselves. Um, and so we all need each other's help if we're going
yeah.
to do this for God's glory.
And yet, responding to this opportunity is difficult because many people have never seen anyone deal with their sin properly. And so they don't even really know what to do when it comes up. And because this is so important, responding correctly, I think we need to talk about it a little more next time. But maybe we can just close by, why should a dad learn how to take criticism and correction well? Just like, let's bang it out in terms of a number of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it cultivates an environment where there's actually grace and everyone knows they need Jesus. They can't do this on their own.
Yes.
It's also an environment where we make mistakes and we can actually learn from them and change and avoid them in the future. So we don't have to keep making the same mistakes. We can actually grow.
Yeah.
And that's going to just strengthen the relationship. I mean, people can then approach you, your kids can approach you and take correction well when you try and give them correction, because you're modeling to them what it looks like. And
Yeah.
so we see our blind spots and we don't have this distorted view of ourselves. Everyone's open and transparent,
Yeah.
and able to move forward.
No, it's huge, and we just want to make sure that we don't have the wrong idea of what it means to be wise and to be godly in this world right now. Um, a wise man in Proverbs is someone who takes correction. That's one of the ways he's distinguished from a fool. So he's not the one who knows it all the time. He's the one who listens to advice. And if we don't listen to advice, the consequences in our family are going to be so devastating. So dads, and that means me and you,
Yep.
let's be men who remember the gospel. And when we sin, ask for forgiveness. We'll talk about that more next week. But even when we're stuck in sin and don't realize it, guys who are able to be corrected and promote that kind of environment in our families.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Josh. I mean, this is so, I can see I want to live this out daily.
Yeah.
I want to grow in this area myself. So I want to be able to cultivate that humility that actually propels me forward as a dad, to be
Yeah.
able to take correction and learn from my mistakes.
Thanks, brother. Next week,
Thank you.
how to make an apology and how to take correction. We'll get more positive, but thanks. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Josh.